welcome to Multnomah County's final public hearing on our fiscal year 2025 budget. I'm Jessica Vega Peterson, your Multnomah County Chair. I want to thank all of you for joining us this evening to share your thoughts and your priorities. Before we start, I want to let everyone know that interpretations of this hearing are available in American Sign Language, Spanish, Russian, Vietnamese, and Somali. You should be seeing a screen right now with information on the phone numbers you can call to access those interpreters. Thank you, Marina. You can also find that information in the description of our YouTube live stream if you're watching that way. If you are streaming on YouTube but would like to watch the hearing with an ASL interpreter, please email our board clerk right now at boardclerk@multco.us to receive a link to our WebEx platform, which allows you to pin the ASL interpreter's window to your screen. Alternatively, you may consider using YouTube's live closed captioning function. Interpreters, as I call your name, please introduce yourself. Oh, and Marina, I want to let you know that Commissioner Myron is on as an attendee. Can you please promote Commissioner Myron to a panelist?
I'll do that. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so we'll start with Gabriela Gonzalez for Spanish. Gabriela, please come off mute and introduce yourself.
Hello. Hola, buenas tardes. Mi nombre es Gabriela González y esta noche estoy aquí para interpretar esta audiencia de fondos de inglés a español. Si les gustaría escuchar esta audiencia en español, pongan el número telefónico 888-808-6929. Cuando les pida el código de participación, por favor pongan 2830310. Si están testificando hoy y les gustaría que yo interprete por ustedes, por favor déjenle saber al oficinista del borde antes que empiece su testimonio. Gracias.
We'll now go to Ola Bilyuk for Russian.
Добрый вечер, меня зовут Олег Билык, и сегодня я здесь, чтобы перевести эти слушания по бюджету на русском языке. Если вы хотите прослушать слушания на русском языке, пожалуйста, позвоните по телефону 888-363-4734 и введите код участника 911-8696. Если вы даете показания сегодня и хотите, чтобы я переводил для вас, пожалуйста, сообщите об этом секретарю совета директоров для начала выступления.
Thank you. Trang Dao for Vietnamese.
Xin chào quý vị, tên tôi là Trang và tối nay tôi ở đây để thông dịch cho buổi điều trần về ngân sách bằng tiếng Việt. Nếu quý vị muốn lắng nghe buổi điều trần này bằng tiếng Việt, xin vui lòng quay số điện thoại 888 557 8511 và hãy vui lòng nhấn mã số của tham gia là 298 5289. Và nếu quý vị muốn trình bày trong buổi tối hôm nay và muốn tôi thông dịch cho quý vị, vui lòng cho ban tổ chức biết trước khi quý vị tham gia để mà trả lời, trình bày. Xin cảm ơn.
Thank you, Tran. We have Bishar Noor for Somali.
galab wanaagsan, magacayda waa Bishaar Nuur. Waxaan caawka halkaan u joogaa inaan turjumo dhegeysiga miisaaniyadda luqadda Soomaaliga. haddii aad jeclaan lahayd inaad isku dhegeysato dhegeysigan luqadda Soomaaliga, fadlan waxaas wacdaa telefoon nambarka 888-278-1296. marka lagu dhaho koodhka geli ama maaragtay nambarkaas ugu qayb qaadanaysa, waxaas gelinaysaa 328-76 waa mahadsan tahay.
Thank you so much. And I also want to note that for American Sign Language, we have Tara Troop and Jenna Marita Curtis. Thank you both for providing the interpretation tonight. So I want to start with a thank you to the Coalitions of Communities of Color for partnering with us this year to co-host tonight's community budget hearing. I want to thank them for the great work the coalition does to address socioeconomic disparities, institutional racism, and the inequities of services experienced by our families, our children, and our community. Thank you to the Coalition's Executive Director, Marcus Monday, for being here and for all the great work that the Coalition does, to the ways that you support Multnomah County. I want to pass things over to Marcus now to help me welcome all of you.
Thank you very much, Chair Vega Peterson and Commissioners. Thank you for having me tonight. Thank you for inviting me to speak before you again and our fellow residents. As the chair said, my name is Marcus Monday. I'm ED. We're of the Coalition of Communities of Color. We're an 18-member nonprofit consisting of culturally specific members that work on those issues she spoke about, racial and economic justice for children and families, and for immigrants and refugees. It's an honor to participate tonight. I think I am here, in addition to welcoming folks tonight, to remind the folks listening about all that Multnomah County does and how much more it could do, which is what my fellow community members are here to share and discuss tonight and through their testimony. The Coalition itself works with so many parts of Multnomah County. We work with your environmental justice folks, libraries, housing, transportation, public safety, health, mental health, and support for schools like the Sun School System and the Successful Families programs. And our members are even deeper into the county, working with family navigators in behavioral health, housing and homelessness, public safety, all these important issues that the county deals with. Every one of our members deals with in a very deep and abiding way. So I hope tonight you all, my fellow residents, are direct, candid, and forthright as you tell these 5 commissioners what they need to know to make good, visionary decisions for the county. I guarantee they are listening, and they want to learn what, in most cases, you, the community, already knows about what's going on around us. So again, thanks, and back to you, Chair Vega Peterson, and thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you, Marcus. As always, as we are getting started here, please bear with us through any technical difficulties that may arise during the meeting. Tonight's budget hearing is one way that Multnomah County collects community feedback on our budget before it will be adopted on Thursday, June 8th at the regular meeting of the Board of County Commissioners. Tonight is our final budget hearing on this FY25 budget cycle. I want to thank you all for being here tonight, and thank you to so many advocates who have attended our previous 2 meetings and spoken with heart about issues of concern, including basic needs support for refugees newly arriving in our community, concerns about Willamette River algae blooms, and uplifting the positive impacts of culturally specific programming for our community health, economic justice, and youth development. I hope you all know that your collective voices matter and will be considered by everyone on the board. I do want to let you know that there's still time to share your input. You can write testimony on our county's budget that can be submitted online throughout the remainder of our budget process anytime. You can find the form at multco.us/budget-feedback. So multco.us/budget-feedback. You'll also find links to the form in Spanish, Russian, Vietnamese, Somali, Simplified Chinese, and Chuukese on the website. You can also simply email your comments to our board clerk at boardclerk@multco.us. I want to thank all of you for taking the time this evening to be present with us virtually to share your thoughts and ideas. Hearing from you about this year's proposed budget priorities and how they represent Multnomah County's values is an essential part of our budgeting process. The FY25 executive budget is the first one I've had the privilege to lead from start to finish. The work on it has been taken up with joy, a commitment to a community-oriented process, and a genuine desire to invest in policies and programs that meet the biggest needs for the people of Multnomah County. Our county is built as much by the community members who call Multnomah County home as it is for them, which is why this budget also looks at how we can be an inclusive, equitable partner. Hearing from you is part of that commitment, so I'm glad that you're here tonight to share your voice. Joining as well and integral to the process are my fellow Multnomah County Commissioners. So before we get started with public testimony, I would like to invite each commissioner to introduce themselves. And I'll start with the Commissioner for District 1, Commissioner Sharon Myron.
So much, Chair Vega Peterson. It is really great to be with everyone today. as we go into our final budget season or budget hearing. I'm Sharon Myron. I am the commissioner representing District 1, which is all of the county west of the Willamette River, and then sort of inner southeast with a sliver of northeast out to East 33rd Avenue. And yeah, this is my final public budget hearing for my tenure as a commissioner. It's the end of my second term, and this is my 8th year in office, and this is really bittersweet. And so I'm very, very pleased to be virtually with everyone. So thank you for showing up and making your voice heard.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner from District 2, Commissioner Jesse Beeson.
Good evening, everyone. Jesse Beeson, he, him, his. I am interim county commissioner for District 2, which is north and much of Northeast Portland. And echo Commissioner Myron's point. Thank you all for being here and sharing your voice. This is my first and last budget hearing, at least in this role. And I am very much looking forward to hearing what you all want to share with us. Thanks.
Thank you, Commissioner. For District 3, Commissioner Julia Broome Edwards.
Good evening, everyone. Glad you're all here this evening. Are you all getting an echo? Okay, I am. So I'm Julia Broome Edwards. I'm the Multnomah County District 3 Commissioner, and that is generally Southeast Portland with a little bit of Northeast, and I'm in year through the budget process. I'm looking forward to hearing everyone's viewpoints, perspectives, concerns this evening. So, and thank you for taking the time this evening to join us.
Thank you, Commissioner. For District 4, Commissioner Lori Stegman.
Thank you, Chair. I'm Lori Stegman, the County Commissioner representing much of East Multnomah County. I use she, her pronouns, and my district begins at about Southeast 148th in Portland and extends all the way out to the Hood River County line. So I have part of Portland, all of Gresham, Fairview, Troutdale, Wood Village, Corbett, and the unincorporated areas. And this too is my last year as your commissioner. And I'm really happy to be here to listen to all of your concerns so that we can craft one of the best budgets ever. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. I'm going to turn things over now to our board clerk, Marina, who will provide a brief overview of the written testimony that was submitted prior to this hearing and to talk through the logistics of the meeting before she calls for testimony. Marina.
Okay. Thank you, Chair. Today we have 72 people signed up to testify. As of 5:30 p.m., we have received 250 written testimony forms, all of which I have shared with each board member and their staff. To listen to this hearing in Spanish, Russian, Vietnamese, or Somali, please call the number on the screen associated with that language. If you would like to have your testimony interpreted into English, please let us know when it's your turn to testify and an interpreter will assist. If you're using the WebEx platform and want to view closed captioning, click on the multimedia icon, which looks like a pie chart. And like the chair said earlier, if you are streaming on YouTube right now, but want to watch the hearing with an ASL interpreter, please email me at boardclerk@mulco.us to receive a link to our WebEx platform, which allows you to pin the ASL interpreter's window to your screen. You can also consider using YouTube's live closed captioning function. I will call 3 people at a time and give them panelist access. Please testify in the order you are called. I will announce your name again after that person before you has concluded their comments. Please keep your microphone muted until it is your time to speak. After you are done testifying, I'll revert you back to an attendee. Public testimony is limited to 2 minutes per person. I'll set a timer when you begin speaking and will announce when your time is up by saying time. At that point, please wrap up your sentence. Written testimony on the county budget can be submitted beyond this public hearing by going to mulco.us /budget/feedback or by emailing me at boardclerk@mulco.us. Okay, I will go into testifiers. Just one moment. I will move you over and give you access in just 1 minute. Let me do that, but I'll call your names first. Laura Galino de Lovato, Anna Allen, and Ray Thomas. I will move you over. Just 1 second. Okay, Laura, you're first. You may begin. Hello, Laura. Are you available?
I am available.
Okay, you may begin.
Thank you. Good evening, commissioners and Chair Vega Peterson. Thank you so much for the opportunity to provide some testimony and input on the budget for fiscal year 25 for Multnomah County. My name is Laura Golino de Lovato. I'm the Executive Director of Northwest Pilot Project. We're a nonprofit organization working in Multnomah County to provide housing, placement, and stabilization services to very low and extremely low income older adults. I'm here tonight to share with you some of suggestions that I and many of my colleagues in service provision have for the budget. As you know, many service providers are contracted with the Joint Office of Homeless Services to provide direct support to prevent and end homelessness. And in our case, it's for older adults. We have some suggestions, as I said, the first being an increase to the cost of living adjustment that is currently being provided or offered in the Joint Office program offers of 3%. And as you well know, the cost of living is still quite high. We would love to see the county provide support for cost of living at about 6%. Additionally, we would love for the board to consider tripling the amount of the Joint Office capacity building grants that totaled $10 million last year, and instead increase them to $30 million this for fiscal year 25. And lastly, we suggest that the Joint Office, through the Board of Commissioners, make rebasing contract
is up.
amounts a priority for next fiscal year. Thank you so much. Have a lovely evening.
Anna, you're up next.
Good evening, Chair and Commissioners. My name is Anna Allen, and I serve as the Regional Government Affairs Director for the Columbia River Intertribal Fish Commission, also known as CRITFIC. It's interesting being on this side of these budget hearings now, but it's good to see you all. CRITFIC represents the 4 tribes with treaty reserved rights that extend into the Willamette River, and those tribes are the Confederated Tribes and Bands of Yakama Nation, the Confederated Tribes of the Warm Springs Reservation of Oregon, the Confederated Tribes of the Umatilla Indian Reservation, and the Nez Perce Tribe. As such, CRITFIC has a strong interest in the health and well-being of the Willamette River and tribal fishers who are in prolonged direct contact with the river. As the local public health authority, Multnomah County should invest in mitigation efforts to address this public health issue that will continue to negatively impact all people and animals who call Multnomah County home. CRITFIC, we ourselves have committed staff resources to participate in regular meetings on the Ross Island algae bloom. We appreciate the intentional approach to including tribes and urban Native communities that the Human Access Project has taken, who is the lead organization on this effort. I know the board continues to face challenging budget decisions while working diligently to address a broad spectrum of complex issues our diverse communities are facing. But I also know that this county and this board is committed to honoring treaty rights and working in collaboration with tribal governments and intertribal agencies like CRITFIC on policy priorities just like this. So thank you for considering this budget request to amend the executive budget, allocating $150,000 of one-time only funding to better understand and address this environmental, animal, and human health issue. And again, it's great to see you all.
Next, we have Ray Thomas.
Good evening, Commissioners. Thank you for creating this opportunity for citizens to talk about our budget priorities. I'm here to talk to you about the toxic algae bloom that originates in Ross Island Lagoon each summer when the water begins to get warm, which is the same time that the river is most inviting to people who wish to use it, for fishers, for people who want to recreate on and along the river. There is no cost. It is open access for people in our community. And it is a grave health hazard and has been something that has created a toxic algae bloom that I've seen in my time on the river originate in Ross Island Lagoon and spread in a plume of this cyanobacteria down into the core areas on both sides of the river, including in the marinas and the swim dock in front of OMSI. And it stays there until fall. And Multnomah County takes its health responsibility for our citizens seriously. $150,000 to partner with Oregon State University to create a water flow that sweeps the water in Ross Island, which presently is a water dead zone, will make it so that we can have a flow that restores the health to our downtown waters in the summer, just when people want to bring their dogs, their kids, and enjoy access to the river. Thank you very much.
Next, we have Renee Morgan, Andrea Milano, and Kevin Shanley. Renee, you can begin. Hello, Renee. Are you available? Renee Morgan. Andrea Milano. Are you available to speak, Andrea?
Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Andrea Milano. I'm a longtime resident of Northeast Portland, a public librarian, a member of the Human Access Projects Board, and a member of Portland's official open water swim team, the River Huggers. I'm here to give testimony tonight regarding HAP's one-time budget request for $150,000. That funding would pay for developing 30% design to reestablish a river flow through the Ross Island Lagoon with a flushing channel. We know that Multnomah County's Health Department's vision is thriving communities that nurture the health and resilience of all. We know that thriving, healthy communities offer many diverse opportunities for recreation that are free and accessible to everyone. The Willamette River is Portland's second largest public space and natural area. And if the river is clean and safe for everyone all the time, it means that kids from all backgrounds learning to swim have a place to cool off on our hottest days. It means that families can enjoy the safer swimming areas identified by our Parks Department without worrying about taking their dog with them. A healthy river that we can count on all the time means that the Health Department can spend its precious time and resources on other pressing matters rather than monitoring, managing, and advertising a hazardous algal bloom in the middle of a hot summer. The problem of more frequent cyanobacteria blooms is an issue that can be solved upstream at its source. This funding request, which again is a one-time request, could be the catalyst for success. The Human Access Project has brought everyone to the table. The only ones we haven't heard from are the salmon, but I think we all know what they might say about having more beneficial algae to feast on and more shallow water habitat for their young. Thank you for considering this request.
Next, we have Kevin Shanley. Kevin, are you available to speak?
I am. Chair and Commissioners, my name is Kevin Shanley. I live in the South Waterfront neighborhood, and I'm speaking in support of the Human Access Project funding request for the correction of a significant public health hazard that I'm sure you've heard a lot about, removing the cyanobacteria breeding ground in the Ross Island Lagoon. For many years, the Willamette River was a giant sewer but for the last few decades after the implementation of the Federal Clean Water Act measures, the river's seen remarkable improvements in water quality. Witness the previous speaker's swimming aptitude for the river. But there's still water quality challenges affecting public health, and the annual cyanobacteria blooms in the warm, stagnant water of the lagoon is one of them. The quiet backwaters of the human-created lagoon are currently a perfect breeding ground for the bacteria, which then moves out of the lagoon into the river. And when it does this, signs have to be posted along the river front warning people, this is everybody who wants to access the river, to stay out of the water and not to allow their pets or dogs into contact with the water under potential threat of sickness and death. Pretty awful thing. So the proposed HAP OSU project to reopen the upstream edge of the island, restoring its original and historic flows through what is currently the lagoon, will prevent the bacterial blooms from occurring in the first place and will eliminate or reduce the prevalence of cyanobacteria in the Willamette River itself. So please support this small investment in a very important public health issue, an investment that will leverage significant additional federal, state, tribal, and private funds. This river is our heritage, and we want to be sure that today's metropolitan population and the generations to come can safely use it and enjoy it up close and personal. Thank you each for your service to our community.
Next, we have Renee Morgan. Renee, are you available now? One more time for Renee Morgan. Okay, we're gonna go to Dennis Brown, Beth Emshoff, and Michael Pouncil. Dennis Brown, will you begin, please? Hello, Dennis Brown, are you available?
There we go.
There we go.
My name is Dennis Brown, and I live in District 2 in Northeast Portland, and I'm here to urge you to approve the OSU Extension Service budget request. OSU Extension Service needs this funding to support its programs in the county, which include the Master Gardener program, for which I volunteer. Master Gardeners serve all residents of Multnomah County, including historically underserved and under-resourced communities. Without county funding, our important work in the county is in jeopardy. I lead 2 Master Gardener projects in partnership with nonprofits that work with low-income and/or migrant populations, the VOS Workers' Rights Education Project and the Bybee Lakes Hope Center. Since 2019, we've worked with VOS to increase workers' knowledge of gardening and improve their job skills and employment prospects. In 21 and 22, Master Gardeners led classes attended by over 150 workers. Workers learned gardening techniques, attended local garden, practiced their English language skills relevant to gardening and landscaping, and we continue to work and educate, provide support to those. Since 2021, we've offered classes at the Bybee Lakes Hope Center and guidance to the Hope Center's garden and kitchen managers. In 22 and 23, we reached more than 200 participants and 50 community volunteers. We're on track for a similar number in 24. We're working to expand that model at the St. John's Village and Portsmouth Commons in North Portland. Master Gardeners need OSU Extension, and OSU needs the county's financial support. Without OSU Extension, there would be no Master Gardener program in Multnomah County, and our support of historically underserved and under-resourced communities would cease. While Washington County and Clackamas counties provide financial support for OSU Extension and their Master Gardener programs, Multnomah County does not. We are supported by grants and private donations. A Multnomah County resident has donated tens of thousands of dollars over the past few years just to keep our training program going. And that approach isn't sustainable. So I urge you tonight to approve the OSU budget request so that we might continue our work for Multnomah County. And I thank you for your time and attention.
Thank you. Next, we have Beth Emshoff. Beth Emshoff, are you available? How about Michael Pouncil?
Yes. Hello, and thank you for having this evening, and I'm happy to see everyone as well. I'm here to talk about the Willamette River and Ross Island. I'm the executive director of a Portland Harbor Community Advisory Group. We've been working on the 11-mile Portland Harbor Superfund in North Portland for a long time. You could say that we've had a fellowship with the river, working to strengthen it by giving the river a voice and elevating our relationship with it for a clean, safe, pollution-free, green, working waterfront. This is, in a way, our gift to the river, and it's important to recognize that the river helps us and gives us gifts too: commerce, recreation, well-being, education, transportation, food, life, and fellowship. So I'm here to ask for the fiscal year 2025 budget request for $150,000 payable to Oregon State University through the established Multnomah County and Oregon State University intergovernmental agreement. This funding would pay for developing 30% design to establish the river's flow through Ross Island and flush the channel, mitigate future impacts to public health, help with water quality and biological impacts from the harmful cyanobacteria. This is a one-time funding request and a gift request to our Willamette River. Thank you so much.
Okay, next, we're gonna try Beth Emshoff. Are you available? Okay, so next we're gonna try Renee Morgan, Lorna Schilling, and Nathan Naiman. Renee Morgan, are you available? Okay, one more time for Renee. Okay, Lorna Schilling, are you available?
Yes, I am. Oh, now there's a delay. Okay, thank you. Hi, hi, commissioners and chair. My name is Lorna Schilling. I'm the past president of Multnomah County Master Gardeners. I've been a Master Gardener since 2000, and I'm definitely a plant nerd. I went from asking questions over and over and over to being someone who is trained by OSU scientists and educators to answer the questions. I love to help people find success with plants. I'm asking that you consider funding OSU Extension in your budget this year and the future. I understand that there are always many needs that pull at your heartstrings. With OSU Extension, you get a lot for your financial support since we are trained, certified volunteers. The main mission of Multnomah County Master Gardeners is to teach people how to garden, solve plant and pest problems, and do home garden research. Some organizations we've partnered with are Bybee Hope Center, Growing Gardens, Oregon Food Bank, Black Future Farms, Backyard Habitat, Xerxes Society, Bird Alliance of Oregon, Portland Public Schools, Feed the Mass, Wisdom of the Elders, and others to help the underserved in our community. We typically have 2 educational webinars per month that are free and open to the public. You can watch some videos on Multnomah County Master Gardener Association YouTube channel. You can register to watch live at our website, multnomahmastergardeners.org. We just had our annual plant sale called Incredible Edibles. What I want to mention is that we purposely over-purchase plants that we donate to groups like Oregon Food Bank, Bybee Hope Center, Growing Gardens, Northeast Emergency Food Bank, Produce for Hope, local schools, and others. We are getting more requests from local school teachers that we can manage who want us to introduce their classes to gardening. We've had 180 students so far this year. With your help funding OSU Extension, we can recruit, train, and manage more volunteers to meet the needs for quality garden education to positively impact the lives of Multnomah County residents. Thank you so much.
Next, we have Nathan Naiman. Nathan, are you available to speak? come back to that. Cynthia Chase, Sarah Barger, and Barbara Prose. Cynthia, are you available to speak?
Yes, I am. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Thank you, Commissioners and Chair. My name is Cynthia Chase, and I am a resident of Northeast 7th Avenue in Portland. I am the president of Multnomah County Master Gardener chapter of OSU Extension Master Gardeners. We are trained volunteers with a mission and passion of educating gardeners on the science of gardening. We share research-based knowledge with the public to promote sustainable gardening practices to help support resilient communities. We have a vital connection to OSU Extension with faculty who educate us on the latest science-based research advancements in sustainable gardening and soil management practices. You see us at farmers markets, you call or email us with your gardening questions. We may have had your child's class visit us at our demonstration garden to learn how plants grow. In May, Master Gardener volunteers taught 180 second through fifth graders from Arleta and Marysville elementary schools the basics of how gardens support people and wildlife in our communities. Teachers have requested we expand this program. We believe in climate change and sustainable practices in our gardens and education. We believe in educating people and growing their own food. We believe that gardening can make a difference in the lives of all, and we want to help those who need us here in Multnomah County. We never charge for our services, and we seek more ways to educate the public, especially those with fewer resources, and we love to partner with other nonprofits with similar goals, including the Oregon Food Bank and Bybee Lakes Hope Center. The Master Gardener program started 51 years ago in Washington State and grew across the country as an extension program funded with federal, state, and county monies. 21 years ago, Multnomah County discontinued that partnership, and ever since we've patched our funding together, even as interest in gardening and climate change has exploded, especially since the start of the COVID pandemic. In order for us to continue and expand our outreach and education programs, we need OSU Extension to provide the training for new volunteers. Please add funding for Extension back into the Multnomah County budget. Thank you for your time.
Next, we're going to have Nathan Naiman.
Yes. Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Nathan Naiman, representing Sport Oregon, and thank you for the opportunity to speak to you this evening. I'm here to ask you to include financial support for Sport Oregon in your upcoming budget deliberations and to replicate the support we enjoy from your colleagues at Metro and the Portland City Council. Sport Oregon is a 501c6 nonprofit association with over 125 diverse supporters whose mission is to spur economic growth and enhance positive social impacts through sports. We do this by our focus on sports tourism and youth sporting events. We work to bring international, national, and regional sporting events to our state, and with all events, helping to drive positive economic impact for Oregon. Our 501c3 foundation focuses on supporting youth sports with an emphasis on underserved youth. The foundation operates an initiative you may have heard of called She Flies, which connects girls and women across Oregon to sports and keeps them in sports through our programs, partnerships, and networks. From an economic impact perspective, in fiscal year 22-23, Sport Oregon generated over 20,000 hotel room nights and about $15 million in the Portland metro region alone. Many more prospects lie ahead, including the NCAA Women's Final Four, which will generate a conservative estimate of 11,000 hotel room nights and $30 million in direct economic impact. I'd add that the mission statement of the Multnomah County Board of Commissioners includes, quote, planning for the needs of a dynamic community, provide leadership to ensure quality services, prioritize the needs of our most vulnerable, and promote a healthy, safe, and prosperous community for all. Our work addresses and in fact absorbs some of the burden that falls under the stated mission and responsibility of Multnomah County. In addition to a prosperous community, we impact your goal of supporting a healthy community from birth through adulthood. We do this through youth sports. I ask you again to support us and to include our financial support for Sport Oregon in the upcoming budget deliberations and to replicate the support we enjoy from your
Time is up.
colleagues at Metro and Portland City Council. Thank you.
Next, we have Sarah Barger. Sarah, are you available to speak?
Yes.
You may begin.
Good evening, Chair and Commissioners. My name is Sarah Barger. I'm a person in long-term recovery. I'm also Executive Manager and Policy Liaison for 4D Recovery. I'm testifying today to encourage Multnomah County to invest in recovery housing. Substance use disorder almost took everything from me. I was chronically homeless, in and out of jail, and estranged from my family and unemployable. After being released from jail, my PO helped me get into VOA Women's Residential. After graduating treatment, I moved into an Iron Tribe recovery home. Moving into a supportive and clean environment in my first year was vital to my well-being, integration into the community at large, and successfully getting off probation. Because my rent was affordable, I was able to focus on my recovery and start going to college. Today, I hold a master's degree and work for a company I love and believe in. All of this was possible because I was able to access treatment and housing resources when I was ready and needed it. Or I could have ended back out on the streets. Recovery housing is part of the continuum of care for people with SUD seeking recovery. It can be coupled with outpatient or utilized by people coming out of treatment, jails, or off the streets who are seeking recovery environment. It sits at the intersection of behavioral health and homelessness. Recovery housing is a cost-effective housing approach because purchasing a home and setting up operations is less costly than the larger projects and can be immediately inhabited. Additionally, recovery homes can be accredited through the National Alliance of Recovery Residents. Recovery homes provide low barrier access for potential tenants to provide a recovery first environment for people to thrive in, become self-sufficient, and live healthier lives. The U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development approves recovery housing as a way to help individuals become stably housed. Additionally, recovery housing can support any deflection efforts made by Multnomah County in response to House Bill 4002 by increasing deflection participation and retention by providing stable and supportive housing environment that will help save lives. Thank you.
Next, we have Barbara Prose. Barbara, are you available?
Yes, I am. Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Barbara Prose, and I'm the new Executive Director of the Interfaith Movement for Immigrant Justice. Thank you for the opportunity to speak with you this evening. I am here to urge you to fully support the Newcomer Support Services pilot. As a clergy person who recently moved from the state of Oklahoma to Oregon, I'm grateful to see the county stepping in to ensure that we will be better able to welcome our newest neighbors to the oldest sanctuary state in the country. As the director of the Interfaith Movement for Immigrant Justice, a scrappy grassroots organization sustained by people's passion and purpose, I can say with confidence, after only 10 months in the position, that there are people of all faiths here committed to fulfilling our responsibility as good neighbors and as members of the human race. Congregations in many of our districts are engaged and appalled that families with small children who have traveled for months to get here don't have access to shelter. Emerge works closely with congregations in every one of your districts, including Havra Shalom and First Unitarian in District 1. As you know, Emerge has raised thousands of dollars from individual donors through our sanctuary fund to secure shelter, especially for families with children, because of a shared, sacred, and moral imperative to ensure that no child feels forgotten or is forced to sleep outside in our communities. I am moved beyond belief when an individual decides to donate $1,650 to house one family for 1 month. I'm inspired beyond belief when a congregation decides to take on hosting a family for a few weeks or a few months. I've also been troubled beyond belief because I know this is not the way we want to welcome newcomers to the state of Oregon. I'm speaking alone today, but I've been working with many other local faith leaders who want to continue to work together with you to mitigate the consequences of not having a system in place that honors our country's commitment to offer asylum and be a place of refuge, as well as to mitigate the consequences of not honoring the commitment of our country's many faith traditions, which all affirm that we must welcome the stranger as ourself. We are interested in deeds, not creeds, because after 10 months, I can also say that
Time is up.
we need your help and we need your support. Thank you for this opportunity to speak to you.
Thank you. Next, we have Stephanie Kistler, Elliot Thomas, and Tia H. Ho. Stephanie, would you like to begin, please?
Hi, thank you for letting me speak today. I wanted to speak on the immigrant and asylum seeker peoples who are coming to our country trying to have a better life. I currently am housing a family of asylum seekers from Venezuela. I would just ask that you put money towards these wonderful people. It's really hard for them to get a place to stay because they don't have the resources or the financial backing to have an apartment of their own, to jump through the hoops that are required. I currently, my asylum seekers did get a home that they were sharing. However, it was rat infested and was no better than a crack house. They were then moved out into the country where there was no transportation, no internet, and these people just want to give their families a better chance to have a productive life, and they are working hard to jump through all the hoops that need to be done to become citizens and to be able to stay here and raise their family. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak.
Next, we have Elliot Thomas. Elliot, are you available? Elliot Thomas, are you available to speak? Um, let's try Tia. Tia, are you available? Hello, Tia, are you available to speak? Okay.
Yes, I am. I don't know how. Are you, can you hear
Yes,
me?
we can hear you.
Sorry, I'm new to this WebEx platform. Thank you so much, commissioners and chair, for this opportunity to provide testimony. My name is Dr. Tia Ho. She and they are my pronouns, and I'm a resident of District 3 of the county. I'm following up on earlier testimony about the Willamette River. As we're all aware, one of the county's primary responsibilities is public health, and the prevention of illness is part of that mission. I am here today to urge you to approve the request of $150,000 in the single one-time line item for the next year's budget. This funding would pay for developing 30% of the design to reestablish river flow in the Willamette River, moving us closer to implementation to address the harmful algal bloom. This would bring important movement through the Ross Island Lagoon, breaking up stagnation that produces a significant harmful algal bloom. These blooms make the Willamette River unfishable, unswimmable, undrinkable. It can kill dogs and make people very sick. And our riverways are part of our cooler corridors and critical green space zones that heat vulnerable people will increasingly seek out as we have more frequent, hotter days due to our ongoing changing climate. Some of you may remember the images of the neon green plumes spreading from the lagoon last summer. As an open water swimmer, I didn't want to get in the river, and I didn't want anybody else to either. Despite the work of multiple partners to increase access to these areas, an algal bloom becomes a barrier to that access. This affects people who have been negatively impacted from existing inequities and lack of resources. As part of protecting this important resource and the multiple ecosystems it supports, a small investment now can prevent worsening conditions and related illness in the future. Providing this funding is public health prevention in action that addresses multiple potential harms, supporting more efficient use of resources about how the health department plans, responds, and manages events in the future. It's a literal upstream intervention to prevent illness downstream that's affecting our overly taxed
Time
medical
is up.
system. Thank you for your time.
Next, we have Father Don Gutman, Preston Green, Amanda Cathall. Father Don Gutman, would you like to start? Well, it looks like we can't hear you.
I'm here to advocate. Can you hear me? I'm here to advocate also for the Willamette River and the problem with the stagnant water in the Ross Island Lagoon. I live in Southwest Portland, pastor of St. Clair Church in Southwest. I've been here about 8 years now. And I go on the river every morning for my prayer time. and I get on the river about 6:30 at the Willamette Park, and then paddle over between Ross Island and East Island, and just put my paddle down and talk to God for a while out there. Beautiful place to pray. But unfortunately, with the algae bloom that's been happening the last few summers, it's becoming a problem. If I stay in my kayak, I'm safe, but I like to jump out of the kayak and jump in the river, and that doesn't always work anymore with the algae bloom, basically poison water. And the river is such a great resource for us here in Portland. I hate to see it not being safe for swimming, not being safe to use, not being safe for dogs. So I just advocate, again, for that $150,000 to OSU to complete the design process for stopping, for changing the lagoon and making it a flow through, which is what it was originally. Thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
Next is Preston Green. Preston, are you available to speak? Hello, Preston Green, are you available? Okay. Amanda Caffel, are you available to speak?
I sure am.
You're welcome to begin.
Great. Hi, I'm Amanda Caffel, a tenant lawyer with the Commons Law Center. I write to encourage you to spend 3 times whatever you budgeted on legal services for eviction defense. Eviction is a leading cause of houselessness. Multnomah County has a houselessness problem. It's easy to see. What's harder to see from roadways driving by is that evictions hit vulnerable populations harder. Women of color especially, Black mothers in particular. Here, eviction rates are well above pre-pandemic levels. Nationally, we know providing tenants legal advice during eviction proceedings saves money. Fewer public service dollars are needed to support people who are housed. Unsurprisingly, when tenants have legal advice, they stay housed. That's 86% of the time in New York City, 80% of the time for African American tenants in San Francisco, and 93% of the time for tenants in Cleveland. In Oregon, the number of tenant lawyers has more than doubled since 2019. New rules allow paralegals to provide tenants with legal advice, and new lawyers have an alternative to the bar exam, requiring a year of practical training instead. These are radical shifts in legal culture, envelope-pushing policies designed to help make lawyer demographics reflect the public's and to provide access to justice for people who need it. Most of the time, only people with power and resources get to use the legal system to protect themselves. When people who need legal advice but don't have power or money get it anyway, there's an opportunity for the world to be made a little more fair. You're managing higher than anticipated supportive housing services in an unprecedented and historic crisis. I encourage you to spend like you mean to solve it. As someone who heard more than 700 tenants explain to my face in the last 12 months why they were being evicted, I insist on it. Thank you so much for your service and your time.
Next, we have Preston Green. Preston, are you available to speak?
I am. Can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
Thank you all. My name is Preston Green. I work in the Real Estate and Facilities Department at OMSI. OMSI is located on right down the road or right down the river from this algae bloom. We service over 1.2 million visitors a year. The vast majority of those are children. We're also working on a waterfront education park with Quick Fic, who you heard from earlier. And the health of the river is vitally important to OMSI and its sustained presence on the Willamette River. And we hope that this one-time support, as you heard from a multitude of people today, HAP and OSU have done a really amazing job engaging the neighborhood, engaging the community, creating broad level support for this project. And then we hope that Multnomah County can continue that support with this $150,000 budget line item to continue the work that they have done and to continue to improve the Willamette River, not just for us today, but really for the future generations. So thank you.
We're gonna try again for Elliot Thomas. Elliot, are you available to speak?
Are you talking to me?
Yes, Elliot Thomas.
I'm Thompson, sorry.
I'm
I
so
didn't.
sorry.
Hi, Chair Peterson, Multnomah County Commissioners. I'm Elliot. I'm an outreach case manager at Join PDX. We're a nonprofit that, using funding from the Joint Office of Homeless Services, helps people get into housing. And I'm talking today to ask you to provide an adequate, a bare minimum adequate cost of living adjustment for all of us frontline workers. As many of the speakers have spoken to, there is, especially in the era post-pandemic, where unhousedness is continuing to spiral out of control, and we are trying to do our utmost as a group of people who are disproportionately queer, brown, and women, and also disproportionately underpaid. For the same reasons that many people become unhoused, that housing is too expensive, that affording food and medical care is too expensive. We are also oftentimes on the verge of becoming unhoused ourselves. And so in this, the last opportunity for us to ask you to consider giving us more than the 3.3% cost of living adjustment that has been proposed. I and other members of my union are speaking today to ask you to consider at least a 5%. That would allow us to continue doing the essential work that we do that supports so many others to become productive and safe and happy members of our community. I thank you for your time, and free Palestine. Thank you.
Next, we have Riley Gombart, Cameron Graham, and Doyle Thibbert. Oh, pardon me. Riley, would you like to begin, please?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes.
Perfect. Thank you for the opportunity to speak today. My name is Riley Gombarts. I am the Director of Estate Planning and Probate at the Commons Law Center. We're a nonprofit law firm here in Portland, providing sliding scale and pro bono legal services to Oregonians. I'm here to advocate for the continued funding of our tenant eviction defense clinic. Our clinic has served over 1,000 people facing eviction, providing them with critical legal assistance. The support has been life-changing for many, as 80% of those that we assist are able to avoid eviction and remain in their homes. These are not just statistics, but real people who have been able to maintain stability in their lives because of our intervention. Despite our tireless efforts, we still cannot meet the overwhelming demand. Many tenants appear in court without any legal representation, and the need for our services continues to grow. Stark reality is that the resources we provide are indispensable, yet insufficient to cover everyone in need. Preventing homelessness should be a priority. Without the services our clinic provides, we would see a significant increase in evictions, leaving many tenants facing a downward spiral, losing their homes, jobs, and stability. The ripple effects of eviction extend far beyond housing, impacting mental health and employment opportunities. It's important to note that the vast majority of those that we serve are BIPOC individuals, LGBTQIA+ community members, women, and the elderly. Many also struggle with mental health or addiction issues. These are vulnerable populations, and they deserve our unwavering support and protection. Our clinic serves as a crucial safety net for those who are most at risk of falling through the cracks. Preventing eviction is not just a moral imperative, but a financially prudent strategy. By reducing the number of evictions, we alleviate the strain on our homeless shelters and social services, fostering a more sustainable and humane community. In conclusion, I urge you to continue funding the Commons Law Center's Tenant Eviction Defense Clinic. By doing so, we invest in the stability and well-being of our community, ensuring that everyone has a fair chance to stay housed and thrive. It's not merely an investment in legal services, it's an investment in the very fabric of our community.
Time is up.
Thank you.
Next, we have Cameron Graham. Cameron, are you able to speak?
Yes, thank you very much.
Thank you. Please go ahead.
Good evening. My name is Cameron Graham, pronoun she, her. I'm the executive director of the Commons Law Center. The Commons is a nonprofit serving people who make too much money for legal aid services yet cannot afford private bar attorneys. Last year, we received one-time funding from October to June of this year from Multnomah County to support our tenant defense clinic at the county courthouse. At this clinic, we represent tenants at first appearance who are facing eviction, who would be appearing without representation, facing a lawyer or a landlord's agent in court alone. During the first 5 months, we exceeded our contractual expectations. We were able to provide over 1,000 people with legal representation, helping 80% of those folks avoid eviction. Our team goes to the courthouse each week, sets up a portable office, and helps as many people as we have capacity for. Often 70, sometimes even 100% of the unrepresented people present. The people facing eviction proceedings are more likely to be people of color, member of the LGBTQIA community, elderly folks, people who are single parents, and people with disabilities, including mental health. People who, without Multnomah County's funding and the Commons Law Center, would be facing the eviction process alone. What happens to people and families when they're evicted? Look at the streets of our county and our neighborhood parks, on our land near our highways. They end up living in places that make it hard, if not impossible, to be safe, to work, to go to school, or to care for their children. Legal assistance can be the guardrail for many vulnerable people and families. I've attempted contact with all the commissioners and staff requesting renewed funding so we can continue to serve Multnomah County. I've also gathered support from legal providers, social service agencies, including Rent Assistance Org, and most importantly, the people appearing at the courthouse. I'm asking you to fund our modest request of a budget that contains no admin expenses or overhead, just direct client services, so families and people can remain housed. We hope this will be a priority for Multnomah County. Thank you.
Next, we have Doyle Thibbert. Doyle, are you available to speak?
Yes, I'm here.
You may begin.
Right. I want to thank everyone for listening to what I have to say. I'm not an expert on line item issues or budget. I was not really well prepared for that, but I want to speak about being homeless or houseless and what I see every day when I ride the streetcar. I think it's a shame in our country that there isn't more help for people. I've been homeless more than once or twice in Portland, off and on since the mid-'70s. And I know how difficult it is to get up and off the streets. The difference for me is I haven't been unwilling to speak up. I haven't been unwilling to beat on doors and find a way to get it done. But when you're on the street, there's no place to write a resume. There's no place to make an application. And I'm just asking, please, that Multnomah County commissioners fund anything that has to do with housing, anything that will help people get off the street. Once you're there, it's a nightmare. And that's all I really want to say. Thank you.
Next, we have Ricky King, Sarah Schindelbeck, and Robert Sanders. Ricky, would you like to begin, please?
Hi there. Can you hear? Oh, here. Sorry. Hi, all. Can you hear me?
Yes, and we can see you.
Perfect. Thank you. Hello, I'm to Chair Peterson and commissioners of the board. My name is Ricky King. I use they, them pronouns, and I live in District 4. I grew up and spent most of my life in District 1. I'm testifying today to ask the board to divest from apartheid and to continue to invest in our community. One, by keeping funding for the Multnomah Idea Lab and the Multnomah Mothers Trust, or if not that, to at least continue to fund those programs under a different heading. To support DCHS program offer 25003, which is the newcomer support services pilot, and to take the first steps to divest from Amazon at the county level so that the county's funds help people here who need it instead of funding war overseas. I've gotten the chance over the last month or so to hear the stories of those whose lives were changed by the Multnomah Idea Lab, especially the Mothers Trust. And it's really disheartening to see that the programs here that we have story proof of and also data proof that they work are being cut rather than being included in the proposed budget. Even if they don't manage to be under the Idea Lab in the future, I really do think that these programs, especially the Mothers Trust, are worth having as a county program in the future. I also want to reinforce the support for JOHS program offers 30205 and 30203. Meaning that there would be more beds in family shelter systems and immigrant-specific youth shelters. There needs to be a lot more support on the county's end for migrant workers, as other folks who have testified here tonight have said. I'd also like to add, thank you for 30. I'd like to add that as a county, I would really like to, as a county resident, I would really like to see our county's money where its mouth is in terms of responsible investing, and to see the first steps to divest from Amazon other companies on the BDS list and steps to invest money at the county level responsibly in the future. Thank you for your time.
Next is Sarah Schindelbeck. Sarah, are you available to speak?
Yes, I am. Thank you so much for allowing me to be here. So I'm Sarah Schindelbeck, and I currently work at 4D as the Regional Director of Peer Services in Clackamas County, and I'm also a resident of Multnomah County. When I previously worked in Multnomah County, the participants that I worked with were able to seek recovery supportive housing had better outcomes as they were able to transition from the streets or treatment into a safe environment. Many times people leave treatment looking for that next step, and due to lack of availability of sober living, some go back to the streets or other places that aren't supportive of recovery. I also previously managed a sober living house for women and children where I got to witness the life-changing outcomes of supportive housing, such as reunification between mothers and their children. Recovery housing could also be a beneficial part of any deflection efforts made in Multnomah County, as it provides many benefits to the recovery process. I'm asking that the county make investments into recovery housing, as it is a crucial part of the continuum of care and the overall well-being of the community we serve. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak.
Next, we have Robert Sanders. Robert, are you available to speak?
I am, and thank you, Madam Chair, and distinguished members of this committee. For the record, my name is Robert Sanders. I currently serve as the Director of Adolescent Services at 4D Recovery, and I'm here to advocate for increased investment within recovery housing. When I came home from my second deployment, it was hard to find a pathway out of my own chaos. It was difficult to find purpose without the active connection I once felt with my fellow service members. I was that person that walked up and down 82nd and lived in cockroach-infested hotels when I was lucky, and I was struggling to find a reason to overcome the suicidal ideation that plagued me. I was one of over 1,400 veterans in Oregon who spent the night outside on any given night. Rewinding to my last day out there, I was breaking down in a hotel room, the drugs weren't working, things were getting worse. Over the next 2 days, I would see myself get turned away from a treatment center, but my sister made the decision to give me a place to stay for the night and organize my entrance into treatment. I'm grateful that support found me during my 72 hours of willingness. This propelled me to complete treatment, get referred to supportive housing, and build the life that I have today. Since then, I've graduated college, become a present husband, father, and son, and in 2 days, I'll celebrate 6 years of sustained abstinence and recovery. We need to do better for our veterans, but we also need to do better for our children. Today, I had the opportunity to meet with a program participant who's been engaged with the foster system throughout their life. This was somebody that was not engaged in school. They were caught in hard drug use, and they didn't have the self-efficacy to believe that they could build something different for themselves. Since then, I've seen them celebrate 90 days of sustained abstinence, get enrolled in school, find a sponsor, and develop an identity and pathway that works for them. And this is where I'm concerned. I talked about the role that my family played in my ability to initiate and sustain my own recovery, but not everybody has those same assets. As Oregonians and as adults, we have a responsibility to ensure that housing exists so that our kids can transition into those supports and sustain the life that they have built within their recovery.
Time is up.
Thank you.
Next, we have Grace Fortson, Lindsay Rolfe, and Gabrielle Lyman. Grace, are you able to speak next?
Yes, I am.
Great, thank you.
Hello, I'm Grace Fortson from District 1. I use she, they pronouns. Thank you for your time and the opportunity to speak. This testimony calls for divestment from Amazon in 2 parts. First, investment in Amazon does not align with the interests of Multnomah County residents. So point A, if the investment is economically motivated, let's look at returns. OSHA has declared many Amazon warehouses to be dangerous to workers. Amazon violates rights of migrant workers, and Amazon has a record of shirking tax responsibilities at federal, state, and county levels. So what are the returns on this investment? Subpoint B, according to Data for Progress, 61% of voters overall call for an immediate ceasefire in Palestine. Further, 63% of overall voters believe that military aid should be conditional. Amazon is a direct supporter of the Israeli military, specifically through Project Nimbus, and their provision of cloud services that support surveillance and unlawful data collection. Thus, by investing in Amazon, you are directly investing in unconditional Israeli military support against the wishes of your constituents. Second, the money that is currently allocated to Amazon is needed elsewhere. Do the commissioners really want to take money from projects that have proven to materially improve the lives of the most marginalized in Multnomah County to invest in a mega corporation that will undoubtedly do more harm than good, both here and abroad? The programs that are shrinking or disappearing on this year's budget include the Multnomah Mothers Trust, Multnomah Idea Lab, and Chai Early Intervention. As many of the testimonies you have heard verify, they work. Some of these programs are part of Multnomah County's renewed commitments to DEI, the Justice Equity Agenda, post-2020, with the stated goal to, quote, create systemic change through tangible policy actions. This goal cannot be reached by cutting funding to successful programs. Circling back to economic motivations, if you're interested in creating more Multnomah County jobs, let's invest in these programs. Let's not just maintain, but expand them. Multnomah County has been a leader in creating these programs. Let us also be leaders in sustaining them. That is where real change happens. Please reconsider your planned investment to support the needs and wishes of your community. Thank you for your time.
Next, we have Lindsay Rolfe. Lindsay, are you available to speak?
I am, yeah.
Great, thank you.
My
Go
name
ahead.
is Lindsay Rolfe, and I live in District 1. Seeing what's happened on PSU's campus over the last month has led me to reminisce on my own collegiate experience. I graduated from the University of Hawaii at Hilo in 2021, and during my time there, several challenging and traumatic things happened. I was on island for multiple hurricanes, the volcanic eruptions and earthquakes of 2018, a false ballistic missile threat, and a potential active shooter situation on my campus, among other things. Throughout all of this, it was challenging to not feel helpless and powerless. And yet, it is even harder for me not to feel these same things during the last 7 months of the genocide in Gaza. Though this situation is happening across the other side of the world, I feel as though there are many actionable things to be done by someone like me. And yet, no matter how much time I put into speaking on and fighting for those in Gaza and Rafah, and watching my community do the same, it seems that the impact we have is frustratingly little. It's maddening and heartbreaking to watch the situation in Gaza continue to worsen and feel that all of our efforts may be for naught. The fact that so many governments and organizations continue to invest in companies that so actively participate in genocide is appalling. As a board, you have expressed your support for social justice issues and oppressed communities, and yet you continue to invest in Amazon. Amazon partnered with Google on Project Nimbus in 2021, a program that has provided cloud technology directly to the Israeli military. Amazon and Google employees have protested this program, which was met with no response. This technology has been used to kill more than 45,000 Palestinians in the last 7 months alone. I feel it is essential that Multnomah County divest from Amazon, as I and much of my community do not want our tax dollars to go towards investment in genocide. Please stand behind your expression of support for social justice and stand up for the betterment of your community. Thank you.
Next, we have Danielle Maylard, Marcy, and Jesse Rollins. Danielle, are you available to speak?
Can you hear me?
Yes, you may begin.
Okay. Good evening, Commissioner. My name is Danielle Myard, and I'm the chair for the Portland chapter of the Surfrider Foundation, an organization focused on protecting the ocean and access to healthy waters. I'm also a master's student studying tribal natural resource management with a focus on river restoration for the purpose of respecting treaty rights, food security, and environmental health. I'm here today to express strong support for human access projects fiscal year 2025, $150,000 budget requests payable to OSU through an IGA, one-time funding requests to protect environmental health and mitigate toxic cyanobacteria in the Willamette River. People have spoken really eloquently about this already, so I won't repeat, but just to reiterate, last summer we saw incredibly high concentrations of harmful cyanobacteria bloom in the Willamette River. And as with wildfires, air quality, likelihood of natural disasters, this will only increase. And this is a really cool opportunity to be at the forefront and do upstream investment and handle this. So please fund the 30% design to move this important project one step closer to implementation. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. And I'm sorry, Gabrielle Lyman, are you available to speak? Hello, Gabrielle Lyman. Are you available to speak? Okay. Gabrielle, we'll come back to you. Marcy, are you available to speak? And if you are, oh, hello, Gabrielle. You may begin.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, Chair and Commissioners. My name is Gabrielle, and I live and work as a registered nurse here in District 2. And I'm so tired. I've had a long day and an exhausting week, but I'm here to testify today because my heart is so, so heavy. There are so many reasons why Amazon is an evil corporation that our county should not be associated with. But on top of Amazon's crimes of wage theft and irreversible damage to our only planet, Amazon provides tech to the Israeli military. This isn't just internet access. With Amazon's tech services, Israel is literally automating genocide. The Israeli military uses AI to surveil Palestinians, generate targets for airstrikes, and organize military logistics at an unprecedented speed. A direct quote from the head of Israel's digital transformation unit is, "What used to take hours now takes minutes. With the same amount of people, we can do much more." This terrifying technology has resulted in the death of over 40,000 Palestinians. According to Multnomah County's resolution for a ceasefire, social justice is a core value of the board. And I love that for you guys. But now that the board has established its values, it's time to align your values with action. You are in a rare position to take action on the behalf of our community. Please divest from Amazon and invest into our community through vital programs like the Multnomah County Idea Lab, which provides so many vital services to members of this community, specifically the Mother's Trust. Again, I ask you, please divest from Amazon and invest into this community. Thank you.
Next, we have Marcy. Mar, will you speak next?
Yep.
You may begin.
Hello, my name is Mar. I'm a constituent from District 3. I am testifying in support of DCHS Program Offer 25003, Newcomer Support Services Pilot. I'm also testifying against the elimination of the Multnomah Idea Lab and the county's investment in Amazon. Over this budget cycle, we have seen members of your constituency testify in tears, pleading that you recognize their needs and recognize their humanity, asking you not to cut the programs that they still need to make ends meet, asking you not to neglect entire areas of your unhoused community. This at best displays a severe lack of communication and understanding of the people you represent. This at worst displays a disturbing abuse of power with no actionable plans to part from the immoral power structure that this country was founded upon. To claim that Multnomah County maintains strong values around racial and economic justice and then cut the Multnomah Idea Lab, the very program that is centered around envisioning and implementing those values in actionable ways, is performative. It is incredibly performative to claim these values and then cut the Mother's Trust, a program that is proven to have amazing outcomes for your participating constituents and is necessary aid. It is incredibly performative to claim these values and then invest in Amazon, a corporation that injures your constituents, especially your Black woman constituents, at a substantially increased rate, a corporation that provides cloud technology to the Israeli military and is thus fully complicit in the ongoing genocide and murder of nearly 45,000 Palestinians in Gaza. It is incredibly performative to plan to halve the amount of unsheltered unhoused in Multnomah County by 2025, yet barely address the massive gap between the county's immigration and housing systems. In order to embody racial and economic justice as core values of the county, you must have programs and infrastructure dedicated to it. You must make a commitment to socially responsible investments, and you must display a commitment to the welfare of all community members. This means continuing the Multnomah Idea Lab and the basic income provided by the Mother's Trust. This means divesting from Amazon and corporations that harm your constituents and harm humans internationally. This means funding culturally specific training for service providers working with unhoused asylum seekers and uplifting the various organizations that have been supporting asylum seekers in your stead. I hope you choose to truly embody the values you claim to have. Thank you.
Next, we have Jesse Rollins. Jesse, are you available to speak?
I believe so. Is that working?
Yes, we can hear you.
Great. Awesome. Good evening, Multnomah County Chair and Commissioners. My name is Jesse Rollins, and I'm the Senior Policy Manager for Home Forward. In Multnomah County, we currently support over 16,000 individuals with an affordable housing resource making us the largest affordable housing provider in the county and statewide. We want to thank Chair Vega Peterson's office and Commissioners Myron and Stegman, as well as their staff, for the opportunity to meet and discuss Home Forward's priorities for the county budget. As the main administrator of the county's rent assistance programs, we want to ensure that those investments are increased to meet the 10% increase in fair market rent. That critical funding increase is unknown, but we look forward to the Joint Office of Homeless Services identifying that increase. And we urge further consideration of rental assistance and non-homelessness departments to be moved back into the Joint Office budget. This will create multiple channels, causing many barriers for Home Forward to administer this program to address our county's most pressing crisis. We also see the county's budget as a moral document, and we want to highlight funding items that we fully support. Improving wages for many of the county's contracted workforce, funding to increase the cap for supportive housing units, and many investments continuing Housing First that answers the critical question of what comes after housing. Supportive services and long-term rental support, that's the most evidence to work. We've also requested funding opportunities and other budget priorities. For those, we want to thank Commissioner Myron as well as Cristina Nieves for sponsoring a budget note to evaluate shorter-term housing interventions to ensure that these solutions are sustainable across all populations. Thank you for your time this evening, and we look forward to continuing our partnership in this important work.
Okay, next we have Tanner Bontragar, Elaine Placido, and Alyssa Walker Keller. Tanner, would you like to begin, please?
Yes, I'm ready. Sorry, one second. Hello, Chair Vega Peterson and commissioners. My name is Tanner Bontrager, and I live in District 2. I'm testifying in support of DCH Program Offer Number 25003, Newcomer Support Services Pilot, and I'm testifying against the county's investment in Amazon. You've expressed that you recognize the issues that your marginalized constituent face are systemic. The Multnomah Idea Lab expressed this understanding and put to action behind it through numerous successful programs. You cannot claim that racial and economic justice are core values of the county and then proceed to eliminate key programs that counteract systemic injustice. The basic income provided to these mothers has proven to work. From the program's page, participants in the Mothers Trust have reported that they have been able to reduce debt, pay bills, and provide for their children. Speaking on Amazon, the Israeli military uses Amazon tech in its ongoing genocide of the Palestinians. Amazon signed a joint $1.2 billion contract with Google called Project Nimbus to provide cloud technology, intelligence software, and AI to the Israeli government, military, weapons, manufacturers, and more. I do not want my tax dollars going towards genocide and apartheid. According to Multnomah County's resolution for a ceasefire, social justice is a core value of the board. Divesting from Amazon, a corporation that is fully complicit in the ongoing genocide of Palestinians, and committing to social responsible investments would show the county's further commitment to social justice as value. Amazon is bad for Palestinians, bad for the world, and bad for Oregon. I ask you again to consider reinvesting to the Multnomah Idea Lab and to divest from Amazon. Thank you.
Okay. Next we have Elaine Placido. Elaine, are you available to speak?
I am. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Excellent. Good evening, Chair Vega Peterson and commissioners. I'm Elaine Placido, she, her pronouns. I'm the executive director of the Lower Columbia Estuary Partnership. Thank you for allowing me the time to speak in support of the Human Access Project's one-time budget request of $150,000. The Lower Columbia Estuary Partnership is a bi-state nonprofit and a national estuary program. Two of the actions in our comprehensive conservation management plan urge us to create and implement education opportunities and to improve public access to the river. Harmful algal blooms that originate in the Ross Island Lagoon threaten water quality, human health, juvenile salmon, and the ecology of the Lower Willamette, and impact our ability to provide on-water education programs and deter access to and enjoyment of the river. In the summer months, our estuary partnership team takes to the Willamette with our two 29-foot big canoes. Our canoes are floating, paddle-powered community engagement experiences. They provide paddlers, many of whom are on the Willamette for the very first time, with meaningful, memorable, lasting connections to the Willamette River. From a seat on a canoe in the middle of the Willamette, participants learn about salmon, identify osprey, and experience the connectivity of watersheds. Harmful algal blooms can be dangerous to people and pets. They keep people away from the Willamette and contribute to water quality problems. The harmful algal blooms present an ongoing, costly public health issue. The collaborative problem-solving spearheaded by the Human Advocates Project will fund Oregon State University to complete 30% design for a solution that is intended to improve water quality and reduce the severity of harmful algal blooms, making the Willamette safer and more accessible. The $150,000 budget amendment request is a small investment that will lead to lasting positive impacts on the Willamette River water quality. Importantly, this investment will serve as a catalyst for future investment, as well as increasing opportunities for on-water and in-water recreation and education, which serves to increase the level of care and commitment that people
is up.
have in this important local resource. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next, we have Alyssa Walker Keller. Alyssa, are you available to speak?
I am. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. You can start. Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening, commissioners. My name is Alyssa Walker Keller, and I am a member of the Asylum Seeker Solidarity Collective and the Interfaith Movement for Immigrant Justice. Over the last 3 months, you have heard why an investment in the DCHS Newcomer Support Services pilot program offer is critically needed. It is a rare issue in our polarized world that unites schools, mental health professionals, philanthropic organizations, immigrant rights, refugee resettlement, and grassroots organizers, housing service providers, faith communities, government, and newcomer constituents to come together across conflicting priorities and commitments. And yet 69 different organizations in the county signed on to a letter to urge this Board of Commissioners to invest in culturally appropriate shelter for newcomers. Dozens of newcomer asylum seekers have testified in person to ensure you've heard about how your vital investment these past 2 months have kept people sheltered. It does not fall solely on this board and the county to meet the need, but the full proposed investment is essential in order to ensure that unsheltered families who do not have connections, language, or cultural knowledge are not sleeping outside their first night in Oregon this coming year. Your investment will make our county a safer, more livable place where families with newly arrived babies will not be sleeping in the airport because they don't know where to go, where toddlers will not spend months in a car because there are no available shelter beds for families, and no 9-year-old will believe that death is preferable to losing their shelter bed at the end of the month. I wish that none of these were real-life examples, and every single one of these stories came from the past week. This community, who has spent 3 months elevating the need to your board, is determined, resilient, and ready to work with you towards finding shelter solutions, because we know that no matter which district we're from in the county, we all want a better future for ourselves and for our children. There is no such thing as other people's children. I urge you to pass this DCHS program offer 25003 in full so that Multnomah County can lead the way in Oregon and in this nation. Your constituents have spoken with clarity and conviction, and we will solve this together.
Time is up.
Thank you.
Next, we have Mike Davis, Sahan McKelvey, and Chantel Waddell. Mike Davis, would you like to begin, please?
Yes, thank you. Good evening, Commissioners and Madam Chair. For the record, my name is Mike Davis, CEO of Helping Hands Reentry Outreach Centers. We're the operators of Bybee Lakes Hope Center at the Jordan Schnitzler campus. And I first want to say we appreciate the new partnership that started in September of 2023 with a contract for 175 beds. I hope that you recall the last public hearing where I shared about the 852 people that received services during our contracted period with the county and touched on the document that I've shared with you all. While we continue to build the sustainability of Bybee Lakes, we also want to be a good partner for Multnomah County and expand our partnership. With the Joint Office's stated goal of adding 250 shelter beds in 2025, Helping Hands would like to take 40% of that goal. Those beds are ready to go. We just need funding to ensure that we can appropriately staff for the increase in participants. Sustainability is key for the ongoing operations of Bybee Lakes, and contractor support for the next fiscal year of 275 beds allows us to remain laser focused on building those sustainable funding streams without distraction. We will continue our fundraising efforts to add the remaining beds into rotation. As the number of beds increase, the cost per resident day decreases from approximately $59 per day to approximately $48 per day. Helping Hands appreciates the partnership that is forming with Multnomah County and the Joint Office and looks forward to growing that partnership. Also, on a side note, I can't give enough support for the OSU Extension Master Gardeners Program. thousands of pounds of food, serves our community, and when we have abundance, we share with others in the community. Thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
Next, we have Sahan McKelvey. Sahan, are you available to speak?
Yes. Good evening, Chair Vega Peterson and distinguished commissioners. My name is Sahan McKelvey, he, him pronouns, and I am the Director of Community and Family Programs at SCI, Self-Enhancement, Inc. Thank you for taking this time to listen. I'm here to lift up the long-standing advocacy efforts of my organization and numerous county providers in seeking funding that will allow us to pay our direct service staff a wage that will allow them to thrive. The direct staff of your partners provide services for thousands of individuals and families. These are real-life superheroes who do difficult jobs, but they do these jobs because they love our community and they want to make Multnomah County a better place for our most vulnerable citizens to live. Yet we take advantage of these heroes by paying them wages that often qualify them for the same anti-poverty services that they are providing. This is beyond unacceptable. You are asking providers to expand our services to have a greater impact on our community, but you're not providing the resources we need to be successful. The living wage in Multnomah County for any household that includes at least one child is over $73,000 per year after taxes. The living wage before taxes will be a minimum of $86,000 per year. This number is up 8% from last year at this time, and wages for our staff remain $25,000 to $35,000 behind this number. We're already behind, and the 3% COLA pushes us further behind. SCI is joining several of our partners in making the following asks. 1, increase the proposed COLA from 3% to 6%. This is not enough, but it's a start. 2, expand financial health grants by tripling the current investment from $10 million to $30 million. And 3, adopt a budget note to address contract rebasing. Our contracts are outdated, and there's no realistic COLA that's ever going to allow us to catch up to the county's living wage. This is not a boat we need to rock. This is a boat we need to sink. These are crucial steps that we must take together in order to ensure that we can retain the heroes that serve our people so well. Thank you.
Next, we have Chantel Waddell. Chantel, are you able to speak?
Yes, hi.
Great, thank you. You may begin.
Okay, thank you. Good evening, and thank you for this opportunity. My name is Chantel Waddell, and I'm the Director for Extended Day Programs at Self-Enhancement, Inc. I've worked for more than 17 years in partnership with Multnomah County Sun Service System. And in 2023, SCI served over 4,400 students throughout Multnomah County in 5 school districts. We've always worked diligently to be fiscally responsible with the resources we're given. 3 years ago, SCI underwent a market study to evaluate our pay rates to determine if they were fair and equal compared to industry jobs. We found that our pay scales were lower than average and immediately made some adjustments. These adjustments increased at the expense of a finite Sun budget. For our staff to receive a well-earned salary increase, each of our Sun site managers had to fundraise a minimum of $5,000 per Sun school, and these funds allowed us to reduce the impact this had on programming. Several years ago, we were asked to provide the county with details about what the true cost of running a Sun community school is, and we found that to serve our community school families better, there has to be at least a 40% increase for each Sun school budget moving forward, just to pay for our staff to have competitive wages and programming that meets the standard. After providing the information, we have yet to see any of that information implemented beyond an annual cost of living increase. The renewal with amendments of our current contract over several years have kept us in a cycle of being underfunded and operating at a deficit. Our managers and competitive wage, and for our agency to run our Sun Community School programs without losing money each year. I hope that you will fund our community schools at a level that supports the school communities, but also the work that CBOs are committed to providing at a high level year after year. Thank you for your time.
Next, we have Trent Aldridge, Sabrina Solomon, and Oliver Streck. Trent, if you're available, would you like to begin, please?
Hello, my name is Trent Aldridge, and I'm the Chief Program Officer at Self-Enhancement, Inc.
Evening, Chair and Commissioners. Thank you for the opportunity. I would like to share an experience our agency had recently that speaks to the need for responsible funding of services offered by a community-based organization. Our agency hosted a Sun meeting at our building. At the end of the meeting, a county representative shared that with our team and other CBO staff, the county had an opening and that folks are encouraged to apply. If you think about it, that wouldn't be acceptable behavior in any funder or grantee relationship or client vendor business relationship. Imagine an electrician coming to the county to repair something in the building and county staff trying to recruit them away from the vendor. It wouldn't happen. This is a direct byproduct of underfunding services like the Sun Community System, providing the county ultimately a rich staffing pool where they can recruit from easily. I would argue one of the only reasons why a community-based organization staff person would leave is because they could do the same work for the county with less pressure and get paid significantly more to do it. I would like to encourage a true responsible funding investment in these programs, which allow organizations like ours to keep our staff and assure that they make a wage where they wouldn't be eligible for the services we provide. Thank you.
Okay, next we have Sabrina Solomon. Sabrina, are you able to speak?
Yes, hi.
You may begin.
Thanks. Good evening. My name is Sabrina Solomon, pronouns she, her, and I live in District 1. I'm testifying against the elimination of the Multnomah Idea Lab and against the county's investment in Amazon. The county needs infrastructure dedicated to the intersection of poverty and race. And you can't claim that racial and economic justice are core values of the county and then eliminate key programs like the Multnomah Idea Lab that counteracts systemic injustice. Additionally, Amazon as a company is incompatible with the county's stated values of social justice, health, and sustainability. The Israeli military uses Amazon's tech in its ongoing genocide of Palestinians. Amazon signed a joint $1.22 billion contract with Google called Project Nimbus to provide cloud technology, intelligence software, and AI to the Israeli government, military, weapons manufacturers, and more. I do not want my tax dollars going towards genocide and apartheid. According to the Multnomah County's resolution for a ceasefire, social justice is a core value of the board. Divesting from Amazon, a corporation that is fully complicit in the ongoing genocide of Palestinians, I'm committing to socially responsible investments, which show the county's further commitment to social justice as a value. I urge the board to divest from Amazon and make only socially responsible investments. And I want the county to continue to invest in initiatives that promote equity and justice and ensure that the 2025 budget reflects a genuine commitment to the welfare of all community members. Thank you.
Next, we have Oliver Streck. Oliver, you may begin whenever you're ready.
Hello. Good evening, Chair Vega Peterson and Commissioners. My name is Oliver Streck, and I live in District 2. I'm testifying today against the elimination of the Multnomah County Idea Lab and for the county's de-investment from Amazon. I'm very proud that Multnomah County has passed a ceasefire resolution, but I believe that this compels us to de-invest from companies that are complicit in genocide, which Amazon is one of those companies. The Israeli government uses Amazon's technology in its ongoing genocide, as stated just now through Project Nimbus, which under other things provided with AI technology, which it uses to target Palestinian civilians. Amazon also betrays other values that Multnomah County holds, such as our climate action, as Amazon actively works against climate regulation in Oregon, lobbying against House Bill 2816. Amazon is also detrimental for those Multnomah County citizens who find themselves under its employment, as Amazon is notoriously known for union busting, for wage theft, and simply having inhuman working environments. Truly, my cousin worked for Amazon, and the stories that he says are truly inhuman. On the other hand, we cannot be cutting our funding from programs that have proven to work to fund the community. We are a community organization, and the investment should be in those people. The Multnomah County Mothers Trust has been one of the most effective direct funding programs in the nation, with its program being copied by other counties throughout the nation. Why would we try to cut this proven method? Please, please, commissioners, I urge you not to cut the funding of the Multnomah County Idea Lab and rather invest in our people and de-invest from Amazon, as it is a bad company and bad for all those around it. Please. Thank you. Free Palestine.
Okay. Next, we have Irene Haas, Bryce Suprenant, and Joe McFerrin. Irene, please begin when you're ready.
Hi, hello, Chair Peterson and County Commissioners. My name is Irene. I live in Portland, Oregon, and I am calling to beg you to divest from Amazon. Their Project Nimbus AI weapons seem abstract, but they're because they're being tested on victims far, far away. But these weapons are very real and will soon make their way to us. Amazon also actively pollutes and actively has worked to stop climate regulations in Oregon. A few weeks ago, my 12-year-old son asked why people aren't doing more to help Palestinians. I told him that there are people that are. I told him about a nurse from Portland who recently returned after volunteering to help burn victims in the only functioning hospital in Gaza, where there's no soap, no sanitizers, and no painkillers for people whose bodies have been ripped apart. But I know what my son means. He's thinking about World War II type action when governments collaborate to stop Nazis. He's thinking big. But our federal government is too busy taking kickbacks from weapon manufacturers in AIPAC. So we the people turn to you, our local officials. And I'm here to remind you that one day children you love are going to ask you what you did to help. And they're going to ask you with more scrutiny. Because right here, right now, you can divest from murder tech. And my mind keeps going back to the Portland nurse. When she returned, Coyne interviewed a young boy in her family, and he said he's so happy she's back because she is the light in his life, and that says it all. In a country overrun by greed, her light extends to Gaza as well as to her community and family. That level of soul, that level of love, no one can offer you more. Not AIPAC, not Lockheed Martin, and certainly not Amazon. We keep hearing that kids in America are depressed. We blame the pandemic and social media, and that's valid. But there's more going on, and I believe it's because they're looking at you, our government officials. They see constituents in these meetings begging government to use our tax dollars to help the community and mothers.
Time is up.
And the kids are appalled by the merry-go-round. Do better. Divest from Amazon.
Next, we have Bryce. Bryce, you may begin when you're ready. Hello, Bryce. Are you available?
Yes. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, you may begin.
Okay, thank you. I'm just wanting to resonate in support of divesting from Amazon and making a commitment to socially responsible investments in the future. I urge you to maintain permanent funding for the Multnomah Idea Lab and its projects. I urge you to keep DCHS program offer 25003, JOHS program offers 3023 and 3025 in the final budget. And I also urge you to increase family shelter availability beyond the recent program offers and to reduce waitlists to same day. Improved access to services for immigrants of all statuses, languages, and time in the county or country. Thank you.
Next, we have Joe McFerrin. Joe, you may begin when you're available.
Thank you. My name is Joe McFerrin. I'm the CEO of Portland OIC and the Rosemary Anderson High School. Madam Chair and Commissioners, thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak this evening. I would like Multnomah County to invest in POICs peer-to-peer pilot program to support our most vulnerable residents in Multnomah County who are living downtown, homeless, drug impacted, exposed to violence, and who have barriers to employment. At POIC, we know that peer-to-peer wraparound supports as a service delivery strategy produces life transformation. This strategy, driven by individuals who have similar lived experience, who garner a unique level of trust, empathy, and connection that traditional services may not always provide. By funding the peer-to-peer pilot, Multnomah County can help build a stronger sense of community and belonging for its residents and reduce the stigma and isolation that many are experiencing with the challenges of housing insecurity and addiction. Peer-to-peer support workers will offer firsthand insight, share coping strategies, and provide encouragement based on their personal experiences, creating a genuine and trusting relationship with those they assist. We believe that those closest to the problems are closest to the solutions. By investing in peer-to-peer wraparound supports, Multnomah County will help create a supportive network of credible messengers that empower individuals to navigate challenges, build resilience, and achieve their goals. I'd like to thank you for your service and consideration for investment in POIC's peer-to-peer pilot, which we will build into a sustainable, scalable, and effective model that we can all be proud of.
Next, we have Madeline Biscayr, Kate Titus, and Beth Outerson. Madeline, you may begin when you're available.
Thank you, Chair Vega Peterson and Multnomah County Commissioners. My name is Madeline Biscayr, and I'm a union representative with Oregon AFSCME. I'm here to address concerns about the proposed 3.3% cost of living adjustment for county health and human services contracted service providers, and how that will greatly affect workers who are on the front lines providing behavioral health and housing services to our most vulnerable communities. As a union representative, I work with members of AFSCME Local 1790, which represents about 2,000 behavioral health and housing workers in our county. And these are folks that, despite high turnover, staffing shortages, safety concerns, low wages, are doing this work because they care for their clients and our community. Reading through the proposed budget, it's clear that the County Commission has prioritized investment in behavioral health and housing services. However, if increased funding for more shelter beds, rent assistance, and support services are not coupled with funds to substantially increase wages for the frontline workers carrying out these services, those dollars will be wasted. I hear stories every day from case managers, housing navigators, peer support specialists about how their coworkers have moved on in search of more sustainable employment, despite their desire to stay and support clients who, when they leave, will have to start over again with a new service provider. I hear stories from workers who have to access the same resources that they are providing to clients. So to ensure that our members can continue to provide high quality services to address the workforce instability highlighted in the 2023 Joe's Wage Study and many other reports from this county, Oregon AFSCME is strongly advocating for a COLA, a bare minimum of at least 5%, which is barely sufficient. Truly investing in this work must start by investing in the people who make this happen. Those folks are here today. We've heard from others tonight. I urge you to please listen to their stories and invest in a minimum COLA. Thank you so much.
Kate Titus, you're up next.
Hello, my name is Kate Titus. I'm here on behalf of Common Cause, a national organization that works to protect and strengthen democracy. And that includes thousands of Common Cause members here, right here in Multnomah County. And I'm here to speak about the budget proposal to fund small donor election program. First, I want to say to Chair Vega Peterson and Commissioner Beeson, thank you. We really applaud your enlightened leadership through this budget proposal to prepare to upgrade Multnomah County elections with a small donor election program. A small donor election program is now one of the best tools that we have in this country to break the heavy influence of big money on our elections. So it's really exciting to see you initiating this. And to the rest of the commission, I would say I hope you'll join the chair and Commissioner Beeson in fully supporting this budget allocation. As you all know, I'm sure the city of Portland already has a small donor elections program, which has been very effective, and Common Cause was very involved in getting that launched. One of the things I can tell you is that the city almost sabotaged its own launch by not fully funding the program up front. And you can avoid all that risk by simply allocating the funds up front to make sure that you can have a smooth launch of the program. I'd say Common Cause is happy to support your efforts in any way we can. And I so respect and appreciate your leadership to move this forward. And I just urge you to fully fund this now so that your efforts will be successful. Thank you very much.
Next, we have Beth Outerson.
Hi, can you hear me? Hello,
Yes.
Can you hear me? Okay, great. Good evening, Chair Vega Peterson and Commissioners. My name is Beth Outerson and I live in District 2. I'm testifying today in support of DCHS Program Offer 25003, the Newcomer Support Services Pilot. This investment is critical as a first step for Multnomah County to welcome families seeking safety in our community. I also urge you to support JOHS Program Offer 30203, which would provide 90 more beds in the family shelter system, and 30205, which would provide a 25-bed immigrant-specific youth shelter. The full investment in these three programs is critical to meeting the scope of the housing need that we have. As a person of faith, I'm called to welcome the stranger and to practice hospitality for all people. I expect this of my county as well, that it would be proud to invest in supporting those who are making this county their home. These program offers must stay in the 2025 budget alongside continuing efforts at the county, state, and city to respond to this situation. Asylum seekers are vibrant members of my congregation, Westminster Presbyterian Church. They have shared struggles in their struggles in the absence of basic housing and shelter. It's heartbreaking to know that women and small children have resorted to sleeping in cars and tents. Westminster, like other faith communities, has invested so much time and resources as emergency measures, yet we know this work should not be the responsibility of faith communities alone. And programs need to be built for sustainability. Governments and community groups and public-private partnerships are what is needed to manage this ongoing need. These are people who want to contribute to our community. Let's treat them with the dignity and respect they deserve. Thank you very much.
Next, we have Joshua Dunham, Aaron Meehan, and Kristen Bell. Joshua, please begin.
Good evening, County Commissioners. My name is the Reverend Joshua Dunham, he, him pronouns, and I am a resident in the Wilkes neighborhood, and my congregation is Covenant Presbyterian Church in Gresham, District 4. So thank you, Commissioner Stegman, for your years of service. Thank you. You will be missed. As it says in my sacred text, love your neighbor as yourself. As a person of faith, I am in full support of the DCHS Program Offer 25003, the Newcomer Support Services Pilot. This offering is important to me and my church because our neighbors are people who have recently arrived in our country and region. East County is the epicenter of newcomer resettlement in Oregon, and we know it. I applaud the courageous inclusion of this budget item by the board and see it as a good first step in making sure we fulfill our calling as a sanctuary county, open and welcoming of all. My church, along with other underfunded nonprofits and churches, have been providing support for newly arriving asylum seekers, but that is unsustainable. I hope this helps create a sustainable system of support for our newly arriving neighbors. And please also support the JOHS program offering 30203 and 30205, which provide more family shelter and immigrant-specific youth shelter beds so that arriving asylum seekers have immediate shelter and support. No family is forced to sleep outside or wait weeks for shelter, and all immigrants have access to service regardless of their status. Thank you.
Next we have Aaron Meechan. Would you like to begin, please?
Yes. Hello. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Stegman, Peterson, Vega, all of you folks. I really appreciate the time and effort that you have put into putting this budget together and being mindful of the services needed in Multnomah County. I'm a resident of Gresham. I have many hats. I'm on the Housing Stability Council. I'm a resident organizing for change. I participate in Community Alliance attendance. But the reason why I'm here today is just personal. Just as a resident of Multnomah County, I would love to echo all the folks that are here. Everybody here is a champion. Anybody who's speaking and all you folks working in Multnomah County for the betterment of our community, you guys are champions. And so I just would like to echo the housing and the refugees and the water and all the things that you guys are working on, and just say thank you for your service. I definitely advocate for affordable housing for all, definitely with our BIPOC communities and our overpopulation of marginalized communities in Multnomah County. You guys are doing the work, and appreciate your service. Thank you for letting me speak. Have a good night.
Next, we have Kristen Bell. Kristen, you may begin.
Hello and good evening, Chair and Commissioners. My name is Kristen Bell, and I'm from the Northern Arapaho Tribe. I'm one of Future Generation Collaborative's natural helpers and currently employed as the Family Systems Navigator. I am testifying this evening just to share the immense gratitude that I have for the county and your full support of our funding request for the fiscal year 2024 through 2025. At the FGC, we provide direct service and family support. Our program engages families with cultural knowledge and traditional education. Our staff also offers cultural teachings of positive Indian parenting, education, child development information, and resource navigation for families within the community who may need our support. We gather weekly for our play circles, offer social support and immediate resources such as food boxes, clothing, and diapers. Through the early childhood program, families have the opportunity to make connections in the community with other parents and community partners. These community partners are culturally specific, community-based organizations that provide ongoing support and assist in providing wraparound services for individual needs. As an elder and natural helper of the Future Generations Collaborative, I care about community-specific services that are provided by the Future Generations Collaborative. I became involved with FGC in 2015 when I was trained and certified as a community health worker. I have had the honor and privilege to volunteer and become employed with the organization. It has helped me and my family with healing by learning ways to heal from historical and generational trauma. I just wanted to acknowledge that and just acknowledge like the community support that we have had. They say it takes a village, and I know that's what our hope and prayers are for Barbie's Village. Thank you for your time today, and I appreciate you and all your support of Future Generation Collaborative and Barbie's Village in helping make an impact on those who may be houseless and may need family support. Thank you.
Next, we have Kat Clark. Kat, are you available?
Yes, I am. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Hi, my name is Kat Clark, she, they, he pronouns. I am the housing navigator at the organization New Avenues for Youth. I'm testifying today to address the concerns about the proposed 3.3 cost of living adjustment for county health and human services contracted service providers. I've been working in at-risk and housing youth for 3 years. The proposed COLA is insufficient in Portland and Multnomah County. According to the 2023 JOSH wage study, over 56% of employees at these funded agencies feel their compensation does not meet their financial needs. Additionally, over 50% of these employees are considering leaving their jobs within the next year, driven by low wages and high stress. The impact of underfunding is immense. Studies show that a youth facing houselessness or at risk for houselessness that has one positive relationship with an adult will have higher outcomes of sustainable housing and health outcomes. We are absolutely robbing our youth of this opportunity because of high turnover rates directly impacted by our wages. To address this crisis, I strongly advocate for a COLA of at least 5%. This adjustment is crucial for retained skilled professionals and ensuring that we are investing in the continuation and quality of care for our clients. The proposed budget absolutely falls short of addressing the critical needs of frontline workers like myself and undermines our ability to successfully carry out the work that you have so clearly prioritized by investing in behavioral health and housing. I seriously urge you to reconsider the COLA and increase it to at least 5% to truly invest in our vital services and invest in the youth in our community. I thank you for your time. Free Palestine, and have a good night.
Next, we have Jasmine Sprague, David, and Renee Morgan. Jasmine, you may begin.
Thank you, Commissioners, for the opportunity to speak tonight and to reiterate how important it is to keep dedicated funds for newcomer communities in our county's budget. Your commitment to staying here a few minutes late to hear all of your community members is appreciated as well. My name is Jasmine Sprague. I use she, her pronoun. I work at Covenant Presbyterian Church in Gresham. I'm a homeowner in the Lentz neighborhood within Commissioner Brim Edwards' district. I work, play, spend my money, worship, volunteer, and send my children to school in Southeast Portland. Both of my children attend school and are friends with newly arrived students. I'm here today to encourage you to keep money budgeted for DCHS program offer number 25003, the Newcomer Support Services Pilot, as you finalize this budget for next year. As a Multnomah County resident, I am proud to have our community commit to supporting newcomers who are making our county their home by investing in support monies and for the county to improve sheltering for all families. These program offers are important moves in that direction and must stay in the 2025 budget alongside continuing efforts at all city, county, and state levels. I am thankful that my county will support a pilot that will address the needs of our newest community members. I'm excited to see our county commit itself to spending money in effective ways to best support newly arriving community members. Funding this newcomer pilot and more family and youth shelter beds will get us closer to meeting our own standards outlined in the Bill of Rights for Children and Youth. This Bill of Rights outlines the inherent right to shelter. 18 years later, though, there are still hundreds of children waiting with their families on multi-month wait lists for emergency shelter. I'm hopeful that this newcomer pilot program is a step toward honoring our commitment to children and youth. Funding a pilot program that is culturally appropriate for newly arriving families creates safe, stable environments for children to grow and thrive in. Addressing the needs of our newest neighbors in respectful and consistent ways will create space for healing and wellness of our neighbors as a whole. Children with stable shelter thrive, and studies repeatedly show the adverse effects housing instability causes.
Next, we have David. David, you may begin.
Hello.
Hello, we can hear you. You may begin.
Okay. So my name is David Trujillo Bedoya, and I'm frustrated at the county's decision to cut the Multnomah County Idea Lab, also known as the Mill. As I had finished my internship in the Mill last summer, I thought to myself, damn, my county is actually doing the work to address racial and economic inequities. I soon found out that the Mill is being cut. With this realization, it became clear to me that the county is continuing the practice of failing communities of color and our low-income neighbors. It continues the practice of government continuously putting band-aids over cuts rather than preventing those cuts from happening to begin with. In other words, we must be more proactive rather than reactive. The mill represents how much more the county can do. It represents a proactive approach. We must do more than just providing the basic needs. We need to have a space to move beyond the historical and institutionalized harm that it has perpetuated. This budget reflects the short-term outcomes rather than long-term outcomes. If saving money is what you ought to prioritize, then understand that investing in the mill will yield long-term success. In 2021, the county declared racism a public health crisis. I would hope to see the right initiatives to address this. Therefore, I plead that you maintain this vital institution of radical change and innovation. Reinforce strategies to maintain a more equitable county. Don't falter. It is demonstrating a resurgence of devolving into a tool of repression once again. Thank you all for your time. I yield.
Renee Morgan. Renee, are you able to connect now?
Can you hear me?
Yeah. Yes, we can hear you.
Oh, good. Thank you for your patience. My name is Renee Morgan, and I live in District 1. I want to thank Commissioner Myron for everything, and we will miss you. I'm asking you to support the 2025 $150,000 budget amendment that would be payable to Oregon State University for initial design to mitigate future algae bloom. As a resident of a floating home moorage for more than 18 years, I have a front seat view of the river conditions. When we first noticed an iridescent green sheen on the water, we were surprised. But when the plume returned for 3 summers, growing and spreading wider in and around Ross Island Lagoon, we knew it was a big problem. We joined Human Access Project to help a team of Oregon State University research engineers to take water samples, record temperatures, and install a weather station to study the harmful cyanobacteria, or HCB. We learned an important fact about HCB. It thrives in stagnant warm water, but it doesn't die when the water temperature cools. It simply sinks to the bottom of the lagoon and rises to the surface the next season when the water warms to continue growing and spreading. So there is no doubt that the algae bloom will return this year, and it doesn't care that it's capable of killing dogs, making children sick, and preventing Portlanders from using the river. I urge you to keep our river healthy and safe for people, dogs, wildlife by supporting this one-time only funding request. Thank you.
And then the last person we have signed up is Britt Conroy. And Tasia, could you just take a final look through the list of folks signed up to make sure we're not missing anyone? Britt, you're welcome to speak next.
Good evening, Chair Vega-Peterson and Commissioners. My name is Britt Conroy, and I serve as Director of Public Policy at Ecumenical Ministries of Oregon. EMO urges full funding of the Newcomer Support Services pilot. EMO is proud to partner with our 15 member denominations that represent nearly 750 congregations across the state, including many places of worship, interfaith partners, and people of goodwill in Multnomah County. And EMO's direct service programs proudly serve individuals who have come to Oregon as asylum seekers. Our Slavic Oregon Social Services Program supports our neighbors in the Slavic community who are survivors of domestic and sexual violence, including those seeking asylum. Our SOAR Immigration Legal Services Program helps keep families together and provide access to our country's promise of protection through asylum. And EMO's NEFP program, located in the Coley neighborhood, in the state's busiest and largest food pantry, supports asylum seekers and newcomers who are starting new lives in our county. The Newcomer Support Services pilot will help address a critical need for families arriving each week seeking a safe place in our communities. These families, we know from direct experience, are met with multi-month family shelter wait lists and barriers to social services due to their pending immigration status and language barriers. This investment is a crucial first step for the county. I'm really grateful for the Commission's consideration of this investment. At EMO, we are proud to live in a community that stands with those fleeing persecution and violence, and we strongly urge you to support the Newcomer Support Services pilot. Thank you.
Chair, that is all the testimony we received. Tasia, are you able to confirm whether you see anyone else on the list?
I don't see anybody that hasn't already been called.
Great. Thank you. That is all, Chair.
Thank you, Marina. I really appreciate everyone's testimony. Thank you, everyone, for participating in our budget process at these public hearings, whether tonight or at the previous two sessions. For those of you, the 250 of you who submitted written testimony, please be assured that my colleagues and I read each of those as we're considering our budget decisions. I want to thank again the Coalition of Communities of Color for your partnership in co-hosting tonight's budget hearing. And for everyone who worked to make tonight happen. Thank you to all the interpreters. Thank you, Marina, and all the staff support for this. We appreciate this. The board will be back in session tomorrow morning for our regularly scheduled board meeting. Appreciate that and have a good night, everyone. We're adjourned.